Hi, my name is Sophia Tougas, and today I will be talking to you about Berlo's communications model. A key component of public relations is communication. Public relation professionals rely on their relationship with their publics, and the most important way to foster, improve, and maintain strong relationships is through effective communication. In 1960, communications professor David Berlo created his SMCR communications model. So let's break it down. Now I'll share my screen. Hopefully this is up. So S stands for source. The source is where communication originates. A source can be a president of a corporation who puts out a memo to all employees, or a public relations firm who puts out a news release on behalf of a client, or even a corporate representative who speaks to shareholders. How the public views the source is very important. Do they know, trust, or like them? How the source is viewed by the audience will influence the effectiveness of the communication. And that brings us to M, which stands for message. The message is the content of the communication. In order for the message to be effective, it must be relevant and tailored to the audience. For example, if the president of a company is speaking to a group of factory employees about safety concerns, he or she should not be discussing the cost of the company's stock. And that brings us to C, which stands for channel. The channel is the method by which the message is communicated. Again, this needs to be relevant and tailored to the audience. So if your audience was a group of college students, social media would be a good channel for that. And if your audience is a group of young children, then your channel should be something that takes into account their level of maturity and lack of attention span. And that brings us to the last one, R, which stands for the receiver. The receiver is the person or people for whom the message is intended. How the receiver views and is viewed by the source will help determine the effectiveness of the communication. If the source is a corporate executive who has no respect for his or her employees, this will come across in the way that they communicate with them. Conversely, the employees will feel the executive is pompous or out of touch with, and it will affect the way that the message is received. And that brings us to this next diagram, which the final and crucial step in communication model is feedback. And feedback is the way that the message is received by the receiver. So did it make them angry? Did it inspire them? Did they understand it? And did it leave them confused? Without feedback, there is no communication, because communication is a two-way street. A message is sent and then it is reacted to by the receiver. For example, at a press conference, a statement is made and the journalists, receivers often ask questions in response or interview other people who comment on the conference or read a news story on the conference. And then that brings us to this last slide diagram, which is the last part of Berlo's communication model, which is noise. Noise is the clutter that we are inundated with at all times, and that can impede how we communicate with others. This clutter can be audio, it can be visual, or just mental clutter in the form of background noise, distracting activity in the vicinity, or just personal stress that is preoccupying your thoughts at the moment. It all competes with messages that we are trying to send or receive. In this, and this can diminish our ability to effectively communicate. Now let me stop the share. So public relations professionals should be sure to study Berlo's communications model. Paying particular attention to each of the stages of communication will help them become effective communicators, thereby strengthening their relationships with their publics. Thank you.